Jay, it's an honor to have you. BT and Sal here on the Fan. How are things, Jay?
Good. Tell a few jokes, trying to make a living. That's the gig, gentlemen. That's how it works.
God, man, hearing your voice, it brings me back. I used to love watching. I was a Letterman guy, but I loved your show as well. I just went back this weekend and watched that late night show that I couldn't get enough of, the drama with you taking over for Carson and all that stuff. What do you think, Jay, of the current state of late night?
Well, it's fine. It's fine. I'm out of that game now. Thank you very much. Well, look, the whole scenario has changed. In the old days, they used to call it must-see TV. If you want to see something, you have to turn it on at this particular time. Well, that doesn't exist anymore. You can watch the entire Godfather trilogy on streaming with no commercials. The thing that's really hurts late night, I think, is just the number of ads, because as TV gets smaller, they put more ads in to cover the costs. And consequently, on an hour show, you have maybe 44 minutes of show after 11:30 at night. It's all, if I see Jake from State Farm again, I'm going to shoot myself in the head.
It's enough.
I like Kimmel. I like Colbert. I like Fallon. I like jokes. So to me, the monologue is always the part I enjoy most. So I try to catch those when I can.
Yep, that's what obviously pulls in the audience for sure. And then the ability to just have wide-ranging interviews and be relatable and all that stuff, which you were phenomenal at. And let's face it, Jay, one of the things that's really changed about the late night game here is that Johnny Carson knew this, and he knew it better than anybody, what not to touch. And that, to me...
Well, it's funny that you say that, because I get beat up for doing the same thing. It's like, in the real world, when you go out and when you're on TV, you're playing to a specific audience, and they like you, and they're your fans, and they show up. When you go in the real world, you're going to have X number of Democrats, X number of probably got some Trump people, going to have some stuff. So you've got to kind of try at least be egalitarian about it, make fun of both sides equally or whatever, because as soon as you cross that line, boo, and people get crazy. It's just unbelievable. Yeah. So I've kind of taken politics out of it. I'll do it a little tiny bit, but not to the point where, people want to get in a fight with you.
Well, agreed. And Jay, in a lot of ways, it's really become a referendum on society where it's like I used to watch you and all the guys. I'm a big Conan fan as well. I don't think you mentioned him before, Sal. All the other legends that you did.
No, Letterman and Leno. Those are the two guys.
No, I'm just throwing Conan. I love him as well. And of course, Jay was great. But you watch it to escape from the reality of the world. Now it's like you flip on some of these people and you can't escape the darkness of the world. It's almost flipped.
Well, I guess it's a certain amount, but I always get in trouble when I talk about this, so I try to keep it to a minimum. But write joke, tell joke, get check. It's a real simple.
There you go. There you go.
Jay, do you have any regrets about? See, to me, I don't know you first time talking to you, but you seem like such a nice guy. Reading that book, The Late Shift, and then watching the movie, even the way you've handled yourself in recent years, but you also get a bad rap with the way the Conan thing went down. You have any regrets about how NBC and that whole situation played itself out?
But tell me what went down. That's the hilarious thing about this. Nobody knows.
They make it seem. Yeah, they make it. You tell me. They make it seem like you went back and hurt Conan. So you tell us what happened.
NBC came to me one day and said, Conan wants the Tonight Show, blah, blah. I go, all right, fine. So we made a deal to leave. Okay. In the interim, Craig Ferguson came along, and Craig was competing against Conan. And then in many cases, he was beating them. And then Zucker calls me, goes, we think we made a mistake. I go, guys, it's your mistake. What do you want me to do? Well, we don't know what we're going to do. Well, all right, fine. So then I left. Okay. And then it wasn't getting enough. Look, ultimately, you pull your own weight. I certainly didn't do anything to get in the way. I didn't think I'd get the show back. They came to me and said, this doesn't seem to be working. I said, all right, we'll call Conan and see what he wants to do. And then NBC came up with this another brilliant idea of having me do a half-hour monologue. And then I said, run it by Conan. If he wants to do it, I'll do it. And Conan didn't want to do that. And then one thing. But my favorite thing, I was in a meeting with NBC, and I said to him, I'm just curious. I've been number one for the last sort of 12 years. Why are we making this change? And one of the NBC executives says, we want what's above number one.
Yeah, that's
I said,
brilliant.
I said, well, what is the book number? I just started to laugh, and then they realized how stupid this is. I said, guys, whatever you want to do, it's fine with me.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Then they come along. Then they decided to try the Jay Leno show at 10 o'clock. I said, I don't think it's going to work because then the affiliates want the monologue at the end of the show, so it leads into their news. I mean, just all these kind of. It was just NBC trying to have their cake and eat it too, and consequently, it kind of drove a wedge between Conan and I. And I don't really comment on it. I nothing but praise for Conan. He's a very funny guy. He's a good comic. He's good. I enjoy him. Okay, but it's just what happens. It's like I tell people, who do you tackle? You tackle a guy with the ball, okay? It's not personal, and that's what it becomes. And when you're business like NBC, they're in a business to make money. See, here's what they had. They had a hit with Letterman, and they had a hit with me. So they realized if they got rid of Letterman and moved him down, there's no rule that Letterman made a gold mine out of a dead area where there was nothing at 12:30. So they said, we got to keep him here. So okay. Then Conan came along, and Conan, I have to look for rough spots, held the mantle just like Letterman did. And they said, well, we got two guys that are each doing well. What do we do? And they just tried to put Band-Aids on it to keep both of us happy for the longest amount of time. And ultimately, it didn't work out. Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, Jay, you were amazing, but you know Magic Johnson. I mean, the Magic Hour. I mean,
I like Magic. I like Magic.
We all do. The show was terrible. The Magic Hour.
I sent some of my writers over there to work for him.
Okay. I got you.
I like comedy. It should be the funniest or the best or whatever wins. I mean, that's basically what it is. And you don't stifle the competition, Magic. Magic was a good, he just wasn't a comic.
I got you.
Like me playing basketball. Yeah.
Who was your all-time favorite guest, Jay?
Oh, it's funny. I like politics, so having presidents on, especially meeting guys before they were president. I mean, one of my favorite things was Hillary had the nomination locked up. She had it. And all of a sudden, Barack Obama shows up. Now, the interesting story on Barack, do you know who Philip Crane was?
I don't.
No.
Philip Crane, I think, was a congressman or something from Chicago.
Okay.
Caught having sex with his babysitter.
Jeez.
So I got that. Well,
he's out.
Then Alan Keyes, the black Republican conservative, ran to fill Crane's Democratic spot. The Democrats, we got to get an African-American guy to go against Keyes because it's a big African-American audience. And, hey, how about this Barack Obama guy, the community organizer? So they brought Barack Obama in, okay? Like I always say, if Philip Crane hadn't slept with the babysitter, Obama wouldn't have been president, but that's just kind of a funny thing that way. Okay, so then I see this guy announce. I go, let's get him on I call him up, and I said, hi, this is Jay Leno. I'd love to have you on the show. Oh, thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. He goes, okay. So he rents a car. He flies out here, rents a car, drives himself to the Tonight Show because he's not famous now, And he walks out on stage and says, Jay, my name is Barack Hussein Obama. I'm running for president of the United States. And I said to him, well, let's see. Okay, a black guy from Chicago, his middle name Hussein. I said, you shouldn't even have to campaign. I just think you'll win just based on the Hussein thing alone. And, he's a pretty funny guy and sarcastic, and he liked that. And we became friends. Okay, so I even got his cell phone number. I keep in touch. Okay, fine. Well, then he wins. And as a nice gesture, he agreed to come on the Tonight Show as president, which is the first time that it ever happened. And the difference between driving a rent-a-car and coming on as president, okay, the whole parking lot is tented, meaning from a satellite, when the limousine pulls in, they can't see where the limousine goes in like 2 acres of just tenting. Okay. And he comes on. There you go. Now, here's the best part about growing up in a small town and having the same idiot friends since 8th grade. I'm telling my friends this story, right? I said, well, President Obama gave me his phone number. Let's call him up.
Oh,
I go, guys, we're not going to call him up, okay? No, you don't have it. No, you shut up, man. You don't have it. I do have it. So I show him in my phone book. I cover the phone number. So you see, it says President of the United States. And then I said, well, okay, what time is it? Okay, it's 3:00 here. It's 6:00 All right. So I dialed the number. Hey, Barack here. Mr. President. Yeah, it's Jay Leno. What can I do for you, Jay? Just here with some of my friends. Lose this number, Jay. Click.
We were talking with Jay Leno, who will be performing at the Bergen Performing Arts Center in Englewood, New Jersey, this Friday, November 14th, 8 p.m. An evening with Jay Leno, a one-night-only stand-up comedy show featuring Jay, of course, the legendary comedian. Couple more, Jay, for you, as we do appreciate your time here. So you mentioned Letterman before. You still talk to Dave at all?
Occasionally, I've been a huge Letterman fan. When we started, Letterman was awkward and wasn't really a good stage performer, but extremely clever, was a good wordsmith. And I went up to him one time and I said, boy, I love the way how you put phrases together. And he'll always say beverage instead of drink. I just thought it's very, very good. And then he said to me, well, how can you be so confident on stage? Don't you get nervous? No. So we kind of took from each other, and we learned from that. Like when I would do the Letterman show, Dave always gets nervous for a show. So I would go down, I'd buy a huge meatball sandwich in New York, right? And I'd wait for Letterman to come around the corner to make up. I go, Dave, what is meatball? He goes, no, I'm going on. I'm not done. No, Dave. And I just keep pushing it in his face, And then I would bring the meatball sandwich onto the show and, take a bite and the meatball would fall off on his desk and he would get all pissed off. And I mean, it was just so much fun to do because the planned material we had was fine, but the ad-lib stuff with Dave's ability to be quick-witted it was the most fun time of my entire career because every 4 to 6 weeks I would do Letterman and I'd always try to do something that would kind of get under his skin. Like Letterman was once in a magazine called Success Magazine. He was on the cover. So I carry it out and I go, folks, you see this? Dave's on the cover of Success Magazine. Boy, it's unbelievable. Dave, and Dave's going, yeah, you put that down. No, Dave, this is really impressive. And I said, Dave, I'm on the cover of a new magazine. I pulled out a magazine called Super Success Magazine, twice the size of Dave's, with twice the size picture, right? And of course, Letterman didn't really know that was going to happen. So he really started to laugh, and he starts digging. And, it was just so much fun. It was my favorite time.
It was a magical time. And by the way, we ran through so many of these names here, contemporaries, legends. What'd you think about Arsenio? I loved Arsenio's show.
Arsenio and I go on the road together. I'll tell you a funny Arsenio story. This made me laugh. Because we were competing against each other. That kind of thing. So I watched Arsenio's opening show. And he's got Brooke Shields and a bunch, kind of I think Clinton, not President Clinton, the jazz guy, So I'm watching his monologue because you want to watch the other guys to make sure you don't do the same joke. And he says, on my show, it's going to be about the music, about the funk. You're not going to see Barry Manilow's ass on this show. That gets a huge. So I watch all the shows every night. Getting close to Christmas, and I see Arsenio come out. Okay, next week on the show, Barry Manilow will join us. I'm like, oh, Barry Manilow, this is great. So I call it, and I haven't spoken to him in months. I call his office, and I said, hi, Jay Leno for Arsenio Hall. He don't want to speak to you. Well, I think I have something I think he'll want to hear. I don't think so. So hey, what do you want? So he's on the phone. What do you want? Why are you calling me? Why are you bothering me? I went, ooh, next week, Barry Manilow. And he fell off the chair laughing. He realized, on TV, you need every guest. You can't just say, I'm just doing hip people. I'm just doing this, that. And any argument we had disappeared. Ooh, Barry Manilow will be joining me. And it was just so fun. In fact, we've done a bunch of dates around the country.
Yeah, you're doing, I was just reading up on this, you're performing more than 100 stand-up shows annually across the country and internationally. I didn't even know that's a rigorous schedule. So we look forward to that. And again, tickets to see Jay Leno on sale now, Ticketmaster.com or BergenPack.org. Use the code FALL5 to receive $5 off each ticket. 2 more from me, Jay, because in all likelihood, I'll never have this opportunity to talk to you ever again. Number one,
actually, it's going okay. I think it'll happen again.
Oh, Jay, you just made my day, Jay. I've been trying to get in touch with you forever. So your cars.
Yeah, I realize we'll never speak again. So let me ask you this. Go ahead.
Well, the cars in the background. Now, I'm not a car guy. My father was, so we used to watch your show all about the cars. Since my father has passed, I know how difficult it is to upkeep with the cars. He had 3 of them. You've got like 30,000 of them. I know you love it, but how do you maintain all those cars?
Well, as I said to Charlie Sheen, it's so much cheaper than hookers and cocaine. You know? Yeah. I enjoy working on. Something, when you work with your hands, it makes you appreciate how easy it is to make a living just talking. When you're in show business, you meet a lot of entitled people who feel like, oh, they're very important, and oh no, my client does not do that. But when you take a transmission out, you realize some guy probably made $80 for the day for doing that, and that's hard work. So you wash your hands, you go, oh, it's so much fun. The classic, I had a big star on the show. I'm not going to say who it was. And during the break, he says to me, hey, I want to get a sports car. What's a good sports car to get? And I said, well, this newest Ferrari that came out is pretty impressive. He goes, everybody's got a Ferrari. I went, okay, first of all, everybody does not have a Ferrari. Okay. And if you say that, you'll be taken out in the streets and you'll be beaten and killed. I said, most people have never even seen a Ferrari. I said, you got to get out of Beverly Hills, man. You can't just think everybody has a Ferrari. And even he realized how stupid it sounded. And we both laughed about it. But I mean, that's what happens. You live in this bubble, and you need to kind of get out and work with your hands and do things.
All right, last one from me, Jay. The Late Shift. I referenced it before. I watched the movie, even again, knowing that we would have you on. Have you seen it, and how accurate is The Late Shift, or the book by Bill Carter years ago about what went on with you and NBC and Letterman and all that stuff? And your manager, Helen, at the time, how accurate was that?
Yeah, I think the broad strokes is pretty accurate. Yeah, I think it's. I mean, a lot of little things. Oh, that's not true. I never did that. There's one line makes me laugh. I said to my wife, "Honey, would you get me a cup of hot coffee?" I've never had coffee in my life. I can't stand hot coffee. So I laughed at all the little things. But I think for the most part, in that broad stroke thing of show business, it's probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, you've seen that. BT, you got to watch it. The Late Shift. It is incredible.
I got to get into it.
Jay, I got to be honest, man. This is great. It's a real treat. You're a legend. We appreciate it. Go check Jay out this Friday night, Bergen Pack Center, bergenpack.org for tickets. Use code FALL5 to receive $5 off each ticket. Hope to do it again, Jay. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, we'll do it again, guys. Thanks. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jay.
The great Jay Leno. How about
awesome.
that? Those stories. That was way
cool.
better than I thought.